Hi everybody, it's Kay at St Leonards, and this video is all about the new product that I have launched this year. It's called the Markwick. And for those of you that don't know and are watching this for the first time, I am the designer, creator and founder of St Leonards, which is a pared down, understated leather accessories business for stylish men and women the globe over. It was founded in 2010 from a little room in my house and then grew to be producing products in a larger part of my house for department stores all around the world and supplying really lovely men's and women's wear brands, gallery shops and more besides. And as time went on, I opened a real store on the Sussex coast in St Leonards called St Leonards Modern Goods, and it was 2016 that it launched, and it was a culmination of studio space, making and selling the leather handbags and canvas totes, and then what grew and grew was the men's and women's wear clothing sections. So that's the background. So today's video is for those of you that are probably already part of the newsletter group, and this is to show you a little bit of more user-friendly details about the Markwick bag. So to recap, this is the first bag to be created by the business in 2.5 years. That's because of the pandemic and having to focus on selling the fashion that was locked down into the store rather than making new product. So now that sense of having to decide and pick and choose what to focus on, I'm now able to focus back on designing handbags again, which is a great feeling. So this is a unisex bag. We have men and women that follow St Leonards that like a lot of our products because they're not overly fussy and they're not overly feminine, and it suits all sorts of people as a result. Generally, my signature leather is a full grain, that means the full hide of the animal hide saddlery leather tote. And the leather is called bubble shoulder. So it has a waxy texture to it, and it has some pebbling, which you may or may not see on this lens, but it means that there is a variety of smooth and slightly textured grain which varies hide to hide. And that's really important for you to understand the differences. A corrected hide or a chromium hide is one that has had probably lots of different markings and blemishes on it, but in order for it to be used in mass production, it has a coating added to it or a paint added to it or a dye added to it to such a degree that it irons out and smooths out imperfections, or what other people call imperfections, I call beauty spots. So it means that if you, for instance, were working your way through a handbag department and they had 5 or 6 of each design on the shop floor, every single one of them would pretty much be identical. And that's because the natural beauty and the uniqueness of each animal's skin and hide, just like your skin is completely different to my skin, depending on the life I've lived, and the scars and the injuries and the creases I have will be completely different to yours. Same goes for animal hides. And the life that animal has had will show up on its hide. Now, we're not going to get into the debate of whether hide is a good thing or not, because if you're here watching this, you've made the decision that's right for you. But what I will say is that the leather that I use is A grade. That means not only is the quality super high, but it means the welfare of the animals is super high. And a lot of the Italian hides I use are grass-fed, free-range animals. So when they're grass-fed, they eat better, and when they eat better, their skin is better and their lives are better. And these are animals that are used for the meat industry. And of course, there are many different grades. They are not killed for their hide to make leather. Just want to make that clear to some people. So back to the Markwick. So it's been a long time coming. Ever since the dawn of the business, I have wanted to create a rucksack without it feeling super heavy and like a bag that you can only take on holiday when you're camping in Austria. I wanted it to be a bag that you would feel very happy walking into a restaurant or a bar with, but if you were on holiday and sightseeing or in a busy city environment, you could sling it over your back super easily. So I'm going to talk you through some of the features. And if you want more details that are written down, you need to go to the website, which is stleonardsonline.com. And at the moment, it'll be the only product that's available in the handbag section. So you just go to bags, look up either via men's or women's sections, and it will come up. And what is beautiful about this bag is it can be worn 4 ways. So let me tell you a little bit about that now. So we'll start off with the grab handles. So this is the prototype, and it's going to be made by a maker in London, in North London for me going forwards. It's not something that I'm going to be making here. And we've made a couple of adjustments. So it will still be this shape. So it has a flat strap going onto the bag, riveted with steel and brass plated rivets. And then it'll be rolled and folded and stitched so that it is comfortable in your hand. The difference will be 1/2 centimetre additional width, and that will just give it that just greater sense of substance in your hand as you're carrying it. That's much more important when you have a lot of product in your bag and it's feeling heavy. Not that this would fail in any way, but you just want something more sturdy in your hand that gives you a sense of confidence. But also it's very important that it's not too wide in your hand, because if it's a very, very broad carry grip handle, when you have it in your hand, it actually starts rubbing and hurting the pads of your palm of your hand. And then add to that rings and jewellery, and it can actually create a corn or a sore. So it's very important that we get that width and diameter really, really good so that you feel confident using the bag daily. So that's one change that's going to happen. And then we go down to this section, which is a folded leather made out of exactly the same leather as the main bag. And that again is really important because a lot of cheaper products will use a lesser quality hide for details like that. Or they might even use polyurethane, so it's not even real leather. And what's lovely about this is you can adjust it to have it very flat and open, so the bag is like a bucket at the top, or you can drawstring it in quite tightly. I'm just going to do that here. And it's up to you whether you have the thongs hanging down loose and carefree, or you tie them up short and neat in a bow. And actually, if you're wearing it on your back and you have quite a bouncy stride, you probably will want to tie it up in a short bow, because if it's long, it'll be banging and making a noise as you walk. But, you know, some people don't notice things like that. Okay, coming round to the side, you've got these very strong saddlery leather retainers. So the retainer is the leather that is used to connect hardware to the bag. And the retainers are crucial because if they are not firmly stitched, that is going to pull away over time. So that's really important that that is a very suitable, solid piece of leather. And then we've got solid brass, not cheap alloys that will shatter, a solid brass D-ring with a solid brass trigger hook, which is the kind of ones that you would see in yacht chandlery and on dog leads. So they're designed and built to last, not to shatter or to warp, which a lot of cheaper hardware fittings can do. Right, down to the front panel, we have the signature St Leonards patch pocket. This is a shape that gets mimicked and copied again and again on different products that I design. The difference on this bag going forward from the prototype is it will have 2 press studs, because we've been doing some wear trials with it, and because this bag is being worn on the back and you can't always see what's going on behind you, we thought for extra security we would change from one brass press stud to two. So there'll be one either side on the corner, and that will also stop it from rolling up, which is a natural part of what happens with leather when it's being pulled and pulled from the centre only. So that will change. You'll get two either side here. So your press stud pocket is for your Oyster card, your pass, a ticket, a few coins, maybe a pen, hair bobble, things like that you're not worried so much about from a security point of view, but you just want to be able to have them really easy and to hand. And this again will soften and loosen the more you use it, but it's a really useful pocket for things that you need to have quickly at your hands. Then we go down to the base, and what I've made sure is that you've got a base that is big enough to take a lot of stuff for a day trip somewhere, but also not going to bang and cause you uncomfortableness when you're walking around with it at your side as a shoulder bag. So that's why we've carefully done a really pleasing curved base rather than an angular base. Not only is it easier for the makers to turn on the machine, but it means it's going to be much more comfortable when it's at your side. So moving on to the straps, we've got the same saddlery leather. This is a single layer, and then we've got brass sliders that adjust the length of the strap. So I'm going to show it to you in the different ways that you can wear it. So first up, you've got it as a carry bag. So that is you being able to hold it down at your side. Or as some girls like to do, have it on your arm. Okay, that's really good when you're trying to pick things up off the floor, put it on a table, or something's particularly heavy that day, you've got spare shoes or a change of clothes in there, and you want to make sure that you feel like you've got a grip of it and you want it at your side. Then the other way of wearing the bag is as a satchel. So you've got the long strap now, and it's going to go across my body, and I'm wearing it starting at my waist. My waist is up here, so I've got it just below my waist, and that sits really nicely. And I can adjust that depending on how big you are, how big busted, how many layers you're wearing. It might be jumpers and a jacket and a coat, or it might just be in the summer with a t-shirt. I am actually enjoying wearing my bags a lot shorter and higher at the moment. It's a bit of a fashion trend with some of the more luxurious fashion houses, but you can wear it any way you like. So I am actually wearing my handbags like this, a lot higher up. So this is just under the bust line. And it also means that if you're in a really busy city or you're traveling in a tube, it's something that you can hang on to, and it just gives you that sense of security that it's not swinging low, that you can keep your eye on things. So that's two ways to wear it. The other way that some people are using the Markwick bag, or wanting to use it because it's not actually for sale yet, well, it's available for pre-order now, is to shorten the shoulder strap as much as possible, and then in a very classic style wear it over your shoulder. So it's a beautiful tote for walking out and about and walking into any room, a meeting or a restaurant, just to have it smartly over your shoulder. And it's a very classic and timeless shape that just sits really comfortable. The strap isn't too wide, so even if you've got narrow shoulders, it shouldn't be slipping off. It's deliberately single layer leather, so you've got the roughness, and I say roughness, I mean more texture of the suede back. That means it'll grip to your shoulder more. If it was double-sided, you would have two shiny surfaces, and often that means that it'll keep slipping off your jacket or your shoulder. So that's really important. And also, if it's too wide a strap, some people can take that as a sign that it is luggage and then really overwork the bag and overstuff it. And you don't want to do that every day of its life, because it just shortens the lifespan of the bag. So I always design the straps with the width to make you aware of the weight that the bag should carry. So if that starts to really, really dig in, it means you need to unload your bag a bit. And there's no two ways about it. If you overload your bags, whoever makes them, every single day, you will shorten their lifespan. So what I tend to do is I will have a little cloth book bag inside that I've unfold and put extra things in if I need to. It's not to say that this isn't going to be a workhorse, it is, but it's just to make you aware of the design decisions that happen around straps. So that's the third way to wear it. And now I'm going to show you the bit about it which makes it different from the other bags that I've done in the past, which is now you have an extra strap that's inside, and you can now go to the back of the bag and see the set of 3 D-rings. So I'm going to connect one of the straps at the top and down at the bottom on this side, and then I'm going to detach the spare shoulder strap, connect it at the top. Oh, doesn't matter which way around you go, but I'm going to make it the same. Connect at the top and then down to the bottom. And now you have this triangular A-frame of the bag, which is going to make it a rucksack. Okay, so I'm going to put it on my shoulder now. And this has a really satisfying feel, because when you make it short, you feel you've got double the strap and it feels really, really comfortable. So from the front, you get 2 very simple flat leather straps that just fit right into the crook of your armhole. And it means, because they're adjustable, if you've got a thick jumper on or a puffer jacket or a coat, you can slacken off the straps to make it easier to get it on and off over the big armholes of your coat or jacket. So this is the view from the side. So as you can see, it hugs your back really nicely. I've got it sitting at the nape of the base of my back, and it's hugging into my body. A lot of rucksacks fall away and there's a big gap between your body and the bag. And that's when you're walking, you end up with this sort of banging and slapping between your back, and it can be quite irritating and uncomfortable. So this has a snug fit between you and the bag, so you move as one. And I'm going to turn around now for you to see what it looks like at the back. And you can imagine this with a man using it or a woman. It's just a really, really easy, beautiful, timeless bag. So let's move on now to what I've got inside the bag and what the internal features are. So one of the key traits of a St Leonards bag is the simplicity. So I've never been one for fussy linings. I often find you can have a really expensive bag, the lining isn't that expensive, and that rips and shreds or gets pen marks on it or makeup marks on it, and it really cheapens and devalues the bag. And also a lot of handbag companies in the mid-ranges, and when I say mid-range, I'm talking for high street, it would seem expensive, but mid-range to me is about £200 to about £600. Those often use a half grain still of leather, which means this leather, which is 2.3 millimeters thick, has been spliced in two to go to use a suede bag somewhere else and the leather bag. And then you have to rebuild the body and rebuild the structure by adding interlining, interfacing, sometimes cardboard, and a fabric lining. So having stripped it in the tannery, you're now having to build back up the substantial feel to give it the body and the strength that you expect it to have for a handbag. So to me, I want to do away with all of that. I want you to just enjoy the beauty of the bag. So what you see on the inside of the bag is just the back of the hide. So that is a really, really beautiful suede finish, and that is the underside of the skin of the cowhide, and it's truly beautiful. It means you can dust it out, you can hoover it out with a crevice tool, you can use a suede brush to bring it back to life, and in most cases, if you've got a sticky sweet that's gone astray or a biscuit or something like that, you can pull it off, scrub it lightly, get rid of it, and it'll revive really well. It won't cause the same damage as it would with a fabric lining. And obviously with all of our purchases, I give you a little pot of cream to immediately protect the skin. And then you're advised to always use the leather protector spray that you would use for your shoes 2 or 3 times a year. And this is not an idle optional extra that I suggest. If you want to make sure that you don't drop kebab juice or champagne or red wine or ketchup or soy sauce onto your bag and it stain and go all the way through from front to back, you need to get into the habit of using the leather protector spray 2 or 3 times a year. It will substantially increase the life of your bag, and I'm talking decades over a couple of years, because as you build up this protection, you're re-nourishing and re-moisturizing the hide. It's like the difference between me moisturizing from the age of 18 to how old I'm now, which is 51, and putting me and my skin next to somebody else who's never moisturized at all and being exposed to the same pollution, the same food and the same location. And you would see the difference of somebody that has protected their skin with SPF and moisturizers and the person that hasn't. Well, you've got to think about the hide in exactly the same way as you would skin. So let me show you what I've got inside this bag right now. So first up, I've got a journal. This is the gratitude journal. So that's quite a decent sized book. So that could be any novel. I've got my iPad and pen. So it's something that I work on when I'm stopping for a coffee. I've got my bear trapper hat for when it's cold and windy. And I've got actually my whole handbag. So this is another bag from my collection called the Houston. So in it, for ease, I just plopped the whole thing straight into the bag. So inside the bag is reading glasses, tissues, purse, lockets, hand sanitizer, assorted receipts and a mask, several pens, and a few dog biscuits. So that gives you an idea of what's gone into the bag. And then I'll just show you the internal details. So inside you have a beautiful deep capacity. As I say, there's nothing to get torn or shredded or stained, just the inside, the reverse side of the leather. And then in the back you have a beautiful deep zip pocket which will hold most phones, and the zipper is very important. I've taken a lot of care with this. So this is a Riri zip, and Riri makes the world's best zippers in Switzerland. And the major difference of why these zips cost so much more than other zips on the market is because, do you see the teeth? Well, every single tooth is tumbled individually in millions of ball bearings to ensure no burrs and no snags are on them, so that it runs really smoothly once they are added to the tape to create the zip. With other zips, the teeth are applied to the strap of cotton tape, cut and made into the length, set length, so everybody has to design the bags to fit the set lengths of the zips, not the other way round, and then they're tumbled or sanded or blasted for smoothness. And of course, once they're made up into a zip and they have the zipper head on it, it's very difficult to ensure that the ball bearings or the sanding is actually reaching all the angles of the teeth. And as you know, when you're doing up a zip, you could be holding the bag in a funny way, you could be having it at an angle. So you want to make sure that all parts of the teeth are running smoothly, so there is nothing sticking. So I'm just going to fold this down to make it easier for you to see what's going on inside. So just to give you an idea about the quality involved, this zip costs £5.95 to be made, and it is made exactly to my length. That's a 19.5 centimetre long zip. It has 6mm teeth. I have chosen the finish. There's about 4 finishes, and I've chosen the shiny brass tooth finish. And I have chosen this particular puller, and it has a lovely circle in it, and this gives you really, really good grip. You can get smaller pullers, but in the winter when you've got gloves on or your fingers are cold, you want something that gives you really good grip, and that little circle there allows your fingers to really push and hold in a really, really comforting way, so you can open and close the bag whenever you want. So I suggest that you would put private things, personal items and your phone in there, and then everything else you just rummage around for, which is what I like. Less fuss and not loads of compartments. So now to the nitty-gritty. So the bag has already launched on the website a couple of weeks ago. It's available for pre-order now. So that means if you want to purchase the bag now while it is being made and in production, there is a special discount. You need to sign up to the newsletter in order to receive it, but it gives you a discount of £40. Otherwise, the bag will be being sold at full price, which is £380. Now this is an Italian A-grade saddlery leather, manufactured, made entirely in the UK. And if you think about the price of bags at other brands like Radley or Tula that are mass produced, very nice handbags, but they're mass produced in factories in Asia, India and other places, this price point really, really compares very, very favourably. And you're getting something that is made here in the UK with people being paid the right wage for a lot of skill that they have in making these bags to my design. So the first order, there's going to be 5 in the Chestnut Brown, which is this, and there are going to be just 5 in the Cinder Black, and they both have the brass fittings. So if you want to be part of this first batch of production since the pandemic, go to stleonardsonline.com right now. And if you want access to the special voucher that gives you the code for £40 off, you need to sign up to the newsletter ASAP. So I hope that's answered all your questions about the product, and I really look forward to hearing the ping on the website as you make your orders for the Markwick. Take care, bye.